Today I'm going to show you how to build this rocket stove made out of 3 cans, a few washers, some pop rivets, and some aluminum foil. Well, today I'm going to take some cans that I've got here from a recent cooking adventure, and I'm going to make a rocket stove. Now, there are lots of different designs on the internet, and I have never made one. And so what I'm going to do is I have this big old can here that had tomatoes in it, and then a couple of other cans. I've got 2 of this size, which is just slightly larger. And these are just soup cans, and they're pretty small. So I wish I had some that were about like this, you know, a little bit bigger. So what I think I'll do is I think I'll take these 2 cans and cut a hole and make the stove. And then if I can find some slightly bigger ones, then I'll do that. But this should at least build something that we can test and see how it works, because I've always been interested in this subject. So in general, a rocket stove is basically an L-shaped design where you have the firebox and the chimney like this, inside another insulated container. And so what that does is that makes an efficient burn, because the heat from the fire doesn't just get lost into like it would be on a fire pit, and it creates a more efficient combustion. And so you can build this out of anything. In fact, what I'm going to do is I have an idea of several of these that I'm going to build over the next few days. And you can use common materials like bricks or mud or things like this. And so I've got some cinder blocks. I have some regular fire brick. And so I'm going to try these different designs and see how it goes. So what I've got is I cut a couple of tin snips. I think this one's a little bit better. And what I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier is drill some holes to kind of get it started. And then we need to cut a hole this way and mount this in there on the bottom. And then we need to cut a hole like this so that the air can go up through the chimney. And then this height, when we get done, this will probably be about like this, because this will be set inside. This will be about right. And then once we get it on the top, then we need to insulate this with something. And so we'll get into that in a minute. So let me first cut out a general shape for this hole here and see if we can get this started. This is in between the ridges, and so I'm trying to, it's wandering around. Lots of wandering. Finally. Once you get started, it's a lot easier. So let's see if I can cut this out. So this is really sharp, and you should, you know, be wearing your safety gear. These tin cans are thicker and tougher than they appear. Make sure I cut it to the right size. Maybe a little bigger. Okay. Now there are two ways that I could do this. I could cut a hole in here and then it would be a little bit too short. Or I could do it from the top and try and get it. I think the better approach is to do it from the top so that I have a chimney. See, this can's a little too short. So if I do it from the top and cut halfway through the can, I think I can level that out. So I think that's the best approach. Try something like that. Now I got the longer can this way because I want to at least have a decent sized firebox. So I'm wondering if I can just leave that lip on and work that around there. Gotta be really careful with this. There's some pretty sharp edges. Use a good pair of gloves. The last thing you want to do is have fun and then have to go to the emergency room to get stitches. I think I can make that work. Yeah, okay. I gotta go cut this off. I'll be right back. So this is what I'm trying to do, is that I want to get it flat. All right, and that's why I left this on there. I just thought it would be, you know, kind of handy. Okay, so do something like this. And shove that in there like that. So what I need to do, okay, I can just do that. So that means what I want to do is I want to seal this up. So I've got heavy duty foil here. This is for my barbecue grill. And probably the best thing to do, wire, that'll do it. Now I'm really bummed that I can't use duct tape because you never know what you can do with duct tape and wire, but we'll just stick with wire for now. This is just tie wire. You can get it down at the hardware store for cheap. Kind of hold together for a couple of minutes. Quit wiggling around. Gloves back on. Now, because I want to fill this, I don't want whatever I'm going to fill it with to get in there. So I'm just going to seal this with the foil. Now what that'll do is that will allow me to pour my insulating material around here without going into the firebox. Yeah, a lot of people use vermiculite. I used to have some, but I do not anymore. Couldn't find it. I guess I used it. Okay, so there's your basic design, and we need to attach this and seal this up so I have more foil. So I think the thing to do, put this on the inside and seal it from the inside. Okay, I think that will keep that sealed up from the inside. All right, now what I'm going to use here is a little bit unorthodox. What I have is about 40 or 50 pounds or whatever of oyster shell. I could not find a bag of vermiculite. So here's my oyster shell. So I'm just gonna fill that all the way up, and then we should be pretty square. I can push this down. If I can just go down just a smidge. Okay, let's finish that up. Now, I think we're going to give it a test and see what we can do. One thing that I have not really fixed is some way of raising this just a little bit. I guess what I could do... Oh, I have an idea. Yeah. Well, maybe next time. What I want to do right now is to see if I can get this to burn and work. But I have an idea of how to make... so you can put a grate on it, because if you put something on right now, you're going to cut off the air supply. So this is just going to be a burn test, and then just to make sure that it has something that works. This is some dryer lint. So I went ahead and loaded it from the top just because I want to get the fire going. And then once I get this chamber hot enough, then I will start feeding it in from here. I want this to burn down and get the lint out of the way. It's starting to rain on me. I might have to stop. Now this is the whole point of this insulating material. So I've got a fire going in there, and this is cool to the touch because the oyster shell is acting as a good insulator. And that's really, really why they're so efficient, is because of this insulation. So after the first test, the fire test, I got to thinking about how I might put a little stand up here. And I thought about cutting this and pushing this down and whatnot and making some holes. But I like simple, and so I found these washers. And so what I think I'll do is I'll put these washers, I only need, I guess probably you could get away with 3. And then I'll just use my pop rivet gun and pop rivet them on there. Now, if you have a bench press, that's the best way to drill these holes, but I thought I would just demonstrate, you could just use a drill. So the easiest way to do pop rivets like this, trying to hold it onto a round can is really difficult. So the simplest solution is to, whoops, that won't work. Yeah. All right, we'll do it this way. I just want them on the inside, but that's not going to work. I want to get that square. So now you drill a second one. And it is a little bit tedious because you're trying to drill onto a round surface. But now, since you're match drilling, it automatically works every time. That's going to be plenty stable to hold up a pot. And so just for reference, I'm using 1/8 inch short pop rivets. And I can put a link for what I'm using. They're not expensive, and I just love them because for a job like this, they're so quick and easy. Okay, all done. Well, here's my system, and it's working pretty well. So I've got these 3 washers that I'm using, and that's a big old pan. So let's warm that up and see if we can cook.
So it does work. I think what I need to do is make a little bit bigger hole. So I made a little air passageway on the right here. And so that seems to work pretty well. But yeah, so far no problems. Alrighty. Well, it's as simple as that. And if you need yourself a little stove here for nothing, well then it sure does work.